Welcome back, guys, to the Reddit AMA Ask Me Anything, Jordie Jordan, Survival Trip Edition. Do you believe, well, this next question comes from Odo is Awesome. Do you believe if you had won the 1v1 versus Syndicate, that your channel would be as big as his, and his would be comparable in size to yours right now? No. No, I don't. The fact is, there's been a secret going around in the gaming community for a long time, and that secret is pretty much that being good at a game does not dictate how good your YouTube channel is going to be. Look at some of the largest gaming channels out there. PewDiePie, for example. He's good at games, but he's not the best at games. You gotta be good enough. You can't come in and be Ken Burton. With that being said, Syndicate has a more broad personality than me. He has a more likable personality than me. He's a more likable person than me. We're two different people altogether. Do I think that Syndicate is the end-all be-all of my channel? No. Most of the people that probably watch my channel now probably don't even remember that even happened. And most of the people that left my channel when that happened probably never came back. Or who knows? But the root of the question is, do I think that if I beat Syndicate in that 1v1 would have done anything? I think at that point in time I was going to lose subscribers either way, from just the way I initiated it, the way I was you know, coming at him vehemently, you know, just spewing venom, and I think the way I handled the overall situation with Tom is what made me lose subscribers, much less so than the 1v1. The reason I put so much emphasis on the 1v1 is during that stage in time, I was almost indoctrinated with my own self, you know, worth, that I felt like I was one of the best in the world, and lo and behold, I wasn't. So that's what caused that reaction. And keep in mind, that was in 2010-ish. That was episode 67. So yeah, it was 2010. So I was like 23, 24, somewhere in that ballpark. So I was younger, and you know, hopefully people change over time, but you can't change who you are. You can't destroy 20 years of conditioning in 4 years. So yeah, I feel like I'm a better person now than I was then, and yeah, that's who I am. The next question comes from, I'm gonna get this name wrong, Nanika 4? New York Anika 4? Anyway, she asked, what is the current state of your desk? Well, the desk is currently a money pit. That is what the desk currently is. I do not have the funds or the means to finish it at this point. Maybe sometime in the future I'll have more funds, or maybe, you know, I'll pick up woodworking and I'll finish it myself. But currently it's sitting in the building behind my house. There's a big building. You'll see it in a lot of my blogs. You'll see it in a lot of my fire blogs. There's a big building with a shed around it. The desk is in there. With only half of it. Only half of it's ever been built. It's designed to be an L desk, kind of like goes like this, and it's designed to the perimeters of this room, and it's designed to go back to that closet which you see behind me. But currently I'm about, honestly, $1,600 into it, and it's unfinished. It doesn't have the top done on it. It's structurally sound, like you could actually use it as a desk. But it still needs probably about 2.5 feet of lacquer and hardwood sanded off of it, and it needs to be refinished with, I'm going to guess, 20 coats of polyurethane, and it needs to be restained. The top has to be restained, since we did a whole bunch of sanding to get the glass epoxy off the desk itself. Do I think it's going to be finished in its entirety like it was imagined? I doubt it. The wood I had bought for the second desk was actually used by my buddy to build part of his porch, so I had to buy more wood for it. And you know, I thought that was a low blow in itself, but that's what it is on the desk. Most of the supplies that I bought to build the second part of the desk has been used without my permission. The guy who originally set out to, you know, build the desk, and I paid in advance. And the reason I paid him in advance was because he was in a bad situation money-wise. So instead of letting him borrow money, I'm like, look, I don't want to let you borrow money, because generally when you let people borrow money, you never get it back. So I said, I'm going to give you this money in advance, and you go ahead and build this desk for me. And things didn't work out. I'm still friends with him. I'm still friends to stay. I'll probably be friends till the day either one of us dies. Because, you know, man was in a bad spot. You know, people do stupid things. You move on with it. And that's, in my opinion, what friendship's about. Question number 8 comes from GingerNut115. Have you ever tried any illegal drugs? If so, which ones? Illegal drugs. Well, no, I've actually never tried any illegal drugs. I have experienced secondhand smoke for marijuana, but I've never actually smoked marijuana. And like this, in the secondhand smoke for marijuana, I was actually too young to realize if I was high or not, to be perfectly honest. But I remember being around it because of the smell. Like, marijuana has this very unique smell to it. And I was actually, I don't remember how old I was, but my daddy had come to pick me up as like a weekend thing. So my daddy came pick me up, and I went to his house for the weekend or the day or whatever. And he had a girlfriend named Laura, and he had a buddy named Jim, and Jim smoked pot. And I remember Jim lighting up a cigarette, which I knew what a cigarette was, but this one smelled really, 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 really raunchy, and I don't want to say foul, but it was a smell that kind of assaulted the nose. And that's the only time I can ever remember being around illegal drugs. Actually, no, that's wrong. Because my buddy, which built the desk, I've seen him do cocaine before. Because at one point, me and him both worked together at Domino's as delivery drivers. And we used to go back to his house. And sometimes, you know, I'd stay the night at his house and sleep on the couch or whatever. It depends on how late we stayed over and watched TV and things. But, you know, I've seen him have to go to work the next day, and he only slept like 2 hours. So he'd do a line of cocaine to pick him up and go out there. But, you know, he offered it to me, but I've never been about that. From a young age, I knew that I had my own addiction to deal with, and I'm still dealing with it to this day, which is my eating addiction. So, no, I've never done any illegal drugs. I probably own more alcohol shirts than I've drunk in ounces of alcohol. And yeah, that's the truth about my drug addictions and things. The next question on the Reddit AMA comes from Feline Causey, and it's in a nutshell, as you see, I've seen a text from your Twitter. Is it back under your control, or is someone else tweeting from it? I have my Twitter back. This kind of spawns onto the PKA thing, but basically when I was told that we were going to have a fallout, or we're going to take a break from Painkiller Ready or me being on the show, that I was told I was really upset, I was really down, and I asked for my Twitter account password back, because I don't know if that friendship will ever be mended, kind of deal. So I didn't want to lose my Twitter account and all. I mean, because my Twitter account, even though it's been a subterfuge of, you know, trolls and, you know, people that want to come in and dig at my skin. I mean, if you ever want a good time, read like the @comments on my Twitter, because it's some of the most vile stuff you'll ever read. Even though it's that, it's like a safe haven for trolls and people that want to have just ambiguity on the internet. It's still mine, and it's still a way I can actually touch it with people that actually want to play with me. And I never felt good about asking people to play games on Facebook, mainly because Facebook is something that's more for like highlights and funny stuff. I guess Twitter could be the same way, but I see Twitter as a easier way to, you know, to get out there and reach people that, you know, like, hey, who wants to play Resident Evil 6? Or hey, who wants to play Call of Duty on the PS4? Or who's played this? Or like, look, wonder what Mike Miner's doing right now, when I want to actually talk to people in live action. I feel like Twitter is better for that than Facebook, whereas Facebook's more for like big life updates and, you know, funny pictures and things of that nature. So yes, I do have my Twitter back. I probably won't be using it as much, but I will be using it some. But I'm still trying to distance myself from it in its entirety. Question number 10, and this question is going to wrap up the second part of the Ask Me Anything Reddit video. It is a two-part question, and it's from IBM 322. He asked, "What is your favorite rifle, and what is the best truck brand?" He didn't ask my favorite truck. He asked it, what is the best truck brand, which is an opinion, and I'll give that opinion here shortly. My favorite rifle is obviously the Remington 700. It's the first rifle I ever bought. Mine's currently named Samantha. It's one of the. It has one of the best actions ever made. It's the basis for so many military grade rifles. It's chambered in all the powerful rounds. Generally, like a Remington 700 chambered in the right round can kill anything that walks this earth, and it can do it accurately. It's good as a bush gun. It's good as a long range marksman rifle. It comes in synthetic stocks. It's lightweight. There's short barrel SPS versions. My favorite rifle, which when I hear the word rifle I think long rifle, would be the Remington Model 700. The best truck brand. This is a unique question because he didn't ask my favorite truck brand or the brand I'm most loyal to. Yes, the best truck brand, which that's the best on the market today. And I feel like the best truck on the market today is still the Ford F-150. It has the best ride of all three. Well, I haven't had a chance to drive any of the 2014 GM models. But I have driven the 2013 Dodge Ram, and I own the 2012 F-150, which is still the current model that they're going right now. And my brother owns a 2007 GMT 900 frame Chevy Silverado, which I really like that too. The Dodge had the best ride and had the best luxurious equipment. But in the back of my mind, Dodge has never been a company that I would throw my hat into, that I would trust with like $30,000 or $40,000 of my money to give me a good product. They fail year in and year out on developing a product that lasts, that looks good, and ages well. Dodge just doesn't do that. And like if anything, you kind of see like them with the gas tanks on the Jeeps and the seat belts from the old minivans and the old Dodge Ram trucks that didn't really protect you in a wreck. You can see how they actually care about their customer, because they refuse to do a recall because it would cost the company money instead of save lives. Whereas Ford, for those who don't know, Ford owns 70% of the work truck market, and they own that for a reason, because they make dependable work trucks. GM and Ford, they own the truck market because they make the best trucks in the world. People like, oh, what about the Toyota Tundra? What about the Tacoma? They sell such a small fraction of trucks. It's small. I mean, the most dependable truck is probably one of those old Tacomas from back in the 1980s. But but we're not asking about dependability here. We're asking about the best, and that you got to take into all kinds of account. You got to take in gas mileage. You got to take into account, power. You got to take into account luxury, technology, style, look. Affordability, and I still think you can get a midline F-150 and it will drive miles better than anything else out there, and it's still the best truck. And I haven't had a chance to even mess with any of the new GM trucks. I'd love to get a chance to drive one around for a day or so if anybody out there can make that happen. But I feel like the new 5.3 with the direct injection and the dual overhead cam, I don't think it's going to be strong enough to deal with what the Ford's going to do EcoBoost wise, because Ford has a small diesel coming out. They got a 4-cylinder EcoBoost coming out. They're always revamping the V6 EcoBoost, which is, that thing's a fucking monster, dude. One of the best engines I've ever driven on. And I feel that they just didn't do enough. The dual overhead cam direct injection 5.3, it just is not enough to catch up with Ford. It can't even match the EcoBoost's numbers, and the EcoBoost came out 3 years beforehand, and it hasn't been revamped yet. So hopefully, for Chevrolet's sake, that the 5.3 direct injection has room to grow. I mean, the old one did, the first generation. It grew from 265 horsepower to 315. So hopefully there's room to grow, and there's, you know, and the ride is phenomenal. But I just don't see them holding up the Ford, especially since Ford is about to redo their model series with the aluminum bodies. I think the Ford F-150 is the best truck on the market right now. But that's Series 2. I'll catch you guys in a minute.